Good morning and welcome back to Planet Doug. And today I'm heading out on a day trip with my newly rented scooter, a Yamaha Mio 125. So this is the first day essentially that I have the scooter. I picked it up yesterday and I spent some time in the afternoon setting up a place here to put my main GoPro, and this GoPro will be aiming at me, or I can spin it around and aim it at the road ahead, or I can spin it left, right. I can spin it in any direction I want because I have a RAM mount here, and it was really complicated to figure out how to put a RAM mount in this position. Just like a bicycle, scooters can be really complicated for mounting GoPros because there's no bar. Like on a motorcycle, you have a bar and you can mount something here, you can mount something here, you can do all kinds of things. But scooters have nothing. All you have to work with are the grips, the hand grips, and the mirror stock. And I had to rig something up. It took a long time to figure that out. And I have a GoPro here on my chest mount harness. And I have this one set to a super view now. So the idea is, as I'm sitting on the scooter, of course, this GoPro is filming me or filming the road ahead. And then this one is giving sort of a POV shot of the scooter handlebars and the road ahead. So I have to angle this one properly to get that point of view. So, where am I going? That's an interesting question. Basically, I just want to go out into the countryside, just to go riding, just to go exploring. But there is a village here about 30 kilometers away, which is why I got a scooter instead of going by bicycle, because to go there and back by bicycle would be like 30 kilometers there, 30 kilometers back, and it's pretty much almost all uphill with a very steep uphill up a volcano. So to do all that in one day on a bike in this heat, you know, if the sun comes out today, yeah, you can't really enjoy a day like that on a bicycle. So that's why I have this new beast. I'm very excited, very happy about that. And I thought I'd do a little bit of a video, a video about the day, of course, because this village that I'm going to was named by a publication years ago. Like the publication, I think, was called Budget Travel. But this village, 30 kilometers away, was named as one of the 5 most beautiful villages in the entire world. And like I said, I'm living right beside it. So of course I have to go check it out. It could be a bit of an adventure because I'm not exactly sure where it is. Names of everything in Indonesia, like in any other country, in any language, it always gets a bit complicated. People told me about this village. They told me the name. Then I look on Google Maps, but the name they told me, I don't really see it on Google Maps. Then I do internet searches. Everybody has a slightly different name for it. And I'm not entirely sure that this dot that I've picked out is this village, but I'm like 80% sure. And even in terms of pronunciation, I don't know how to say the name of this place. Let me look it up real quick. I have it, of course, on Google Maps. Parianan or Pariangan. Pariangan, something like that. But anyway, even if I don't find the village, it'll be cool just to go riding on the scooter. I'll be sticking to a main road for a while until I get to a city called, should have kept my map open, a city called Padang Panjang, and there I'm going to turn off onto a smaller road and follow that for a while, and that turns off onto a much smaller road, and then that turns off onto a tiny road that goes up the volcano to the village. And yeah, it was straightforward, right? Anyway, we'll figure it out. And with my video, I thought I would do a little bit of an anatomy of a day trip. Like, the weird thing is, for the last 3 or 4 days, the weather has been perfect. blue skies. The sun has been out from the crack of dawn, absolutely gorgeous. And that inspired me to rent the scooter. I have to take advantage of these nice days. But then as I was packing up and getting prepared last night and doing all the planning, I looked at the weather forecast and they said, oh, thunderstorms tomorrow. So today they're actually predicting thunderstorms. So we're going to go back to the rainy season weather. But anyway, it's 7:30 right now. I hope to be on the road by 8 o'clock. I would normally be on the road even earlier than that, but this village could only be like an hour away by scooter. So I think I have plenty of time. But anyway, in terms of the anatomy of a day trip, you got to have your transportation, which I have. I don't have quite a full tank of gas, so I'm probably going to pick up some gas along the way. I'd like to have a full tank before I head off anywhere. You have to bring along your passport, of course, which I have in my knapsack. And I like this style of scooter because it has a platform here. So instead of wearing your knapsack on your back all day long, it gets really uncomfortable and sweaty. I just put it here, you know, between my feet. So that's where the bag goes. And then, so I have my passport in here. You have to carry the registration papers for the scooter in case you are stopped by the police. So I have the registration papers in here. You have to bring money, of course. So I have, you know, daily money, and then I have emergency money because even going to this village, I think I'm coming back here at the end of the day. So you'd think you don't need much money, but what if your scooter breaks down when you're there? So you have to have enough money for a hotel, perhaps, repairs to the bike. You know, you got to bring more money than what you need for the day. So I've taken care of that. Got that packed away in there. Camera setup I already talked about. I'm going to have 2 GoPros running at the same time. And I have a microphone underneath my shirt here connected to that GoPro. This GoPro does not have a microphone attached to it, so it's recording internal audio. So in terms of things that I'm bringing, like on a day trip, I've got this, as I said, which is my day pack. So, you know, you bring things like, I've got my towel, you know, wipe sweat. That always goes in here. I've got tissues, just for, when I came out this morning, the seat, the whole bike was completely covered in dew and a whole bunch of dirt and stuff. I guess I parked it right underneath the roof. So there's all this water was dripping from the roof and put all kinds of mud on the seat. So, you know, that's handy to wipe all that down. And in here, basically, camera stuff. So I've got my microphone bag, I got sunglasses, which I'm probably not going to wear, but just in case. And my camera bag has all my GoPro stuff in it. And a tripod, a small little handheld tripod. And then I have one more hand grip, but I have my GoPro mounted on the hand grip right now. So you may or may not be able to see that. So I have that hand grip, the tripod, and then the motorcycle mount. So that's pretty much everything that's in here. So the idea is when I park the scooter and I want to go in for a cup of coffee or something somewhere, or a meal, this is the bag. You know, I can just take this off the scooter and I'm good to go. Everything valuable is in here, is what I'm saying. But a great thing about a scooter is you also have the seat compartment. This is where you normally put your helmet, but you can also use it for storage, of course. And I was taught how to do this, how to open this. Apparently, I wasn't paying attention. There we go. So you just, okay. That's actually a small helmet compartment. Of course, you need a helmet. So this is my helmet that came with the scooter. Last night, I made sure to clean the visor as much as possible. Looks like it'll be okay. And normally, of course, the helmet goes in here, but yeah, it does not fit. So what I will end up doing probably, I know in Thailand, nobody stole helmets. You didn't have to worry about your helmet, so you just put it on your mirror I just left it on your bike, and for some reason nobody ever stole it. Or what you can do is just take the strap and then you put it in here, and then when you close and lock that, then at least nobody can just grab the helmet and run because the strap is holding it in place. So it's not like you have a lock on it or anything, but that's one thing you can do, and that's what I normally do. So you got to have your helmet. But in here, in this space, I bring a few things. So even for a day trip, I like to be a little bit organized if I can. So I've got this bag here, which is waterproof. You know, it's a waterproof stuff sack. And I bring along, this is a waterproof cover for my knapsack, because you have to prepare for rain. So I've got a waterproof cover for my knapsack, umbrella, a toolkit, which it's not like a toolkit for maintaining the scooter or anything, but since I have this for my bike, I bring it along. You know, you just got, little pliers and a screwdriver, Allen keys, electrical tape, Gorilla tape, a knife, scissors, zip ties, elastic bands, anything that you might need. Oh, yeah, zip ties. I got big ones, small ones, medium-sized ones. Anything you might need for little repairs. You want to, I'm mounting cameras, and sometimes you need a little attachment point. You have to build something, fix something, tighten something. So a little toolkit is very handy to have with you. And I have, these are all my GoPro mounts and camera gear. I'm pretty much bringing everything because I don't know how I'm going to be mounting cameras today. I want to experiment. I can mount a camera here. I can mount it on the foot peg. I could mount it on the license plate, different angles. So I have all of my mounts with me just so I can experiment during the day and more. These are all the small bits. These are the big GoPro bits. These are the small ones, like little thumb screws and adapters and things like that. So all of that goes inside this waterproof bag. I mean, you could put everything in here loose, but obviously it's better to keep it covered. So this was one of those bags that folds over to get a watertight seal. I've had this bag forever, as you can probably tell. It's quite old. So that goes in there. I've never done this before, so I don't even know if everything fits. And then here I have my two things. I have my rain jacket. So in case it does rain today and I have to ride in the rain, normally if it rains, I just stop. But this is my rain jacket in case I need it. So I've got my rain jacket in here inside another waterproof stuff sack. And then I have a kind of a collapsible duffel bag. So if necessary, I can fill this duffel bag with stuff. And then I can strap it to the scooter if I want. So hopefully this can also fit in here. There's a little space here at the front. But maybe I can spread it out along the bottom. Put this on top. Let's see, so that goes right in there. Yeah, that fits nicely. And then I just have to squish this down as much as possible and stuff it into the front. There we go. That fits perfectly. And one more thing, I always have, this is for my bike, but I always like to bring a couple of bungee cords. So in case I do, maybe I decide to stay overnight somewhere and I need more gear, I use that duffel bag, fill it up, and then I can, strap it to the back on here, using bungee cords. So that is everything that I'm bringing with me. Yeah. Other scooters that I've had, I rented a scooter in Thailand for a long time, and I owned a scooter in Taiwan, and it had a much bigger helmet compartment, so you could fit a lot of gear in there. This one is quite small, and then that clicks down into place, and you're ready to go, all set. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I did in terms of preparations. Of course, I made sure my phone was fully charged, and I have a second phone in here, sort of an emergency phone. It's also fully charged, and that's it. Time to get on the road and time to go. All right, we're all set to go. GoPro number 1 set to wide, pointing at me. GoPro number 2 is set to super view. Yeah, this is something I have to fix. The visor, I want it to stay up if I want it up, but it it won't stay up. It wants to come down. So I have to tighten something, or I don't know, do something. Yeah, maybe all I need to do is tighten these screws on the side. Yeah, probably not. So from here, yeah, I just ride down the small road, goes to the main road. There's sort of like a highway almost that goes all the way to Padang, but I'm only going as far as Padang Pajang. I think that's the name of the place. So let us go. And I assume when I get to Padang, I'll find a gas station of some kind, and then there's a small gas station right here, but I've only ever seen cars there. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll go there. I think I've seen scooters there. I just know about, Chati was telling me about the 3 different types of gas. There's green, the cheapest, then blue, and red. And I guess red is meant for motorcycles, like with bigger, more powerful engines, and the green and blue are meant for scooters. And he told me the names of them too, but I can't remember the names. And if I see them in a plastic bottle, I can point and say, oh, green. Yeah, I want the green. But here at the gas station, I don't think I can see the color of the gas. So, you go there, I don't know what to tell the guy, like which gas, to put in, because I don't want to like put diesel into a scooter by mistake or something, right? So you got to figure out gas as well in each country that you visit. So off we go, and let's see. I have to concentrate on driving. One thing about mounting a GoPro on a scooter as well, like I said, the only place to put the GoPro is on the grip. And then you end up using like a third of the grip for your mounting apparatus, and then your hand doesn't fit anymore. So you're only able to grip a little bit of the grip, and then it makes it more difficult to reach the turn signal. So you have to kind of develop some muscle memory, because if you just instinctively reach for the turn signal, you hit the mounting apparatus. So I have to remember that and figure out, okay, how do I put my thumb through and reach the turn signal. Okay, that's interesting too. This scooter has one turn signal light. Instead of having one on the left and one on the right, there's only one on the right, and it just flashes green, but you don't know which one is going. So I guess you have to go on faith that, well, let me check my signal lights, because I haven't, will they work with the engine not running? Yeah, so. This reminds me of getting ready for a family camping vacation, because my dad would hook up the trailer to the car, and then we kids would have to run to the back, and he would turn on the signal lights and hit the brakes, and then we would tell him, yep, left, right. Anyway, left is working on the rear. It's working on the front. And right, yes, right is working on the rear. And right is working on the front. And I don't know if I can see the brake light. I'm not sure the brake light works. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, everything's good to go. It's really easy on a scooter to forget to turn off your signal light. And the other anatomy of a trip, according to Planet Doug, is to go this far. Like, I've only gone 20 feet, and here, stop and kind of assess. Okay, I've got my knapsack, I've got my wallet, cameras are running. Look back to where you've come from. Okay, I didn't leave anything behind, because sometimes, you know, you get so caught up in departure and then you suddenly hit the gas and you just go, but you've left a bag, you know, back where you were loading up or something like that. I recently saw a video from a travel vlogger who flew from Bali to Sumatra. He went all the way to the airport in Bali, flew to the airport in Sumatra, traveled from the airport to his hotel, was unpacking at his hotel in Sumatra, and he realized he didn't have his laptop anymore. You know, and yeah, then when you go through the airport, it's just so easy to put things into the trays to go through X-ray. Morning. And then you you're so caught up in moving forward, you forget to check, and you leave your laptop behind at the X-ray counter. You know, and that's what he did. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to get gas here in town, and that will give me another chance to just slowly take my time, so I don't end up, you know, it'll give me a couple of minutes to go get gas. I'm still here in Sadiak, and I can think about where I'm going. Have I forgotten anything? One thing that occurs to me is that the sun is out right now, and I probably could have applied some sunscreen. That wouldn't have been a bad idea. Oh. And that's something else. When I'm switching over from a bicycle to a scooter, you forget things, because I have sunscreen, but I have it in a special pocket on my bicycle. So it's always there. I never have to think about it. But I don't have it on my scooter, so I could go back and get it. But I think it's going to be cloudy today. They're predicting thunderstorms. And to be honest, it probably would be better to be better dressed for early in the morning, because right now it's pretty cold. Most people here would be all dressed up in jackets and long pants, and for early morning. I have a green light on my dash, but I don't know what that means. Oh, here we are. For this, is it okay? Let's see. $20,000? Yeah, that's okay? You. Okay, thank you. Yep. All right, I'm all gassed up, full tank of gas, and I was on half a tank when I started, and I told the guy, fill it up. So he filled it all the way up to the top, and it cost me 20,000 rupiah from half to full. I think it was more than half to start, so it wasn't really half a tank, but 20,000 rupiah for almost half a tank. The cost is 12,800 rupiah per liter, and that works out to 85 cents US per liter. And I noticed when another scooter came up behind me, he said something to the guy, and then the guy went to a switch and changed. He pushed a button. So I think the guy was asking for a certain type of gas. He wanted either green or blue or red. And I think he might have gone for red, which I guess is the premium gasoline, because the price that came up for him was 15,000 per liter. So as I talked about, you know, when I went up to the guy at the gas station, he just had one unit, one pump. So that one pump, I guess, could pump all the different types of gas, and you would have to tell him which type of gas you want. But I hadn't worked out in advance how to communicate that information. So I was standing there looking at him, and I was trying to figure out what to say, and I was looking around for something to point at, and I was going to go to Google Translate to look for, you know, what type of gas and have a little communication with him. But other people were pulling into the gas station, so I couldn't really waste everybody's time. And turns out he wasn't waiting to find out what kind of gas I wanted. He was just going to give me gas. He probably would assume that I wanted the cheapest there was. So he made that choice for me. He was waiting for me to tell him how much. And then I thought, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're thinking about so many different things, you forget about the most obvious thing. And he wanted to know, well, how much gas do you want? You know, I can't start pumping till you tell me. And then we finally settled on the phrase, you know, fill her up, like full. And the funny thing is, you know, I did all this in Taiwan and I did all this in Thailand, and I worked out, you know, the proper language or the proper way to communicate these ideas. So here in Indonesia, I feel like I'm sort of going on autopilot. I'm just sort of hopping on the scooter and I'm going, and I'm assuming that I know how to do everything. It's like, oh, I know how to ride a scooter, but then I've kind of overlooked the fact that I'm doing this in a brand new country. I've never rented a scooter in Indonesia before, so the language is different, the systems are different, so it's kind of funny. And I double-checked my GoPros when I was at the gas station to make sure that they're pointing in the right direction. And I think my chest harness is working out okay. I have it set to super view, so even if it's a little bit off, you're still getting a nice perspective of the handlebars and the road ahead. You don't want to use super view for normal situations because it's too distorted, but for riding a scooter, I like super view, especially pointing forward on the road. But my other GoPro number 1, I just have it on wide to look at me. And I have my 360 camera with me, but yesterday I didn't take the time. I didn't figure out a way to mount the 360 camera, so I don't know how to do that yet. So my plan for today, of course, is to go very slowly. As you can see, everybody on the road, just about every other scooter and motorcycle, you know, is going faster than me. They're all passing me. but I still have to pass the trucks because they're going even slower than I am. But it takes a while to get into the rhythm of the traffic, to learn how to monitor my mirrors for what's coming up behind me, get my mirrors positioned properly. I think I remember seeing some statistics where a disproportionate percentage of accidents happen within the first 5 minutes of owning a new vehicle. Like someone will buy a new car and then they get in their car and they ride away from the car dealership, and they're going to drive home, and on their way home they have an accident. And I mean it's not a huge percentage, but more people seem to have an accident at that time than at other times. So here I am on a brand new scooter on brand new roads. The roads are wet too, so it was raining last night. There are slippery puddles. And of course I'm distracted by the views all around me. I mean, absolutely gorgeous views, the volcanoes and the rice fields. So this is probably the most dangerous time for me, which is why I'm going very slowly. I'm hugging the left side of the road as much as possible so that everybody can pass me. As long as I can get through this period of time, the chances of being safe are greatly increased. And of course, you've got the potholes, you've got the speed bumps. I haven't run into a speed bump yet, which is interesting. Here's a couple of places where there used to be speed bumps and they tore them out, but they leave big trenches behind in the road. I see a couple of cyclists out for a morning ride. But yeah, that's something about riding here. You can't take it for granted that the pavement ahead of you is smooth. You can be roaring along and you'll run into a life-ending pothole. So here I'm joining the main road. There's going to be a ton of traffic on this road. So again, I'm not going to worry about trying to pass people. If it's convenient to pass, I will. But I'm mainly just going to go slowly, look around me, try to stay alert. Get used to how the brakes feel. They're quite grippy, which is good. But I remember my scooter in Taiwan had very loose brakes, and they would only bring you to a halt gradually, and you had to learn how to apply them. These ones, if I hit the brakes on this scooter like I did on my scooter in Taiwan, I'd go flying head over heels because they would lock up the tires. These are very strong brakes, I can tell. So you have to learn how to apply them gradually. And of course, I could get off the main road. Even here, a short distance ahead, I could get onto small countryside roads and just work my way very slowly towards the most beautiful village in the world. But again, I just want to do things very simple today. I'm driving at 40 kilometers an hour, and that's fast enough for me right now. As always, I feel like the rear view mirrors aren't good enough. They're very hard to position properly. I get a big, clear view of my arm. But I always find if I want to see behind me, I have to move my arm out of the way. And I noticed recently I started watching these motorcycle vloggers from the United States who started a motorcycle journey in Indonesia, and they bought a motorcycle when they landed in Jakarta. So they didn't bring their motorcycle with them. They bought one when they arrived, but they brought along some of their own gear, and that included mirrors. So they had this experience themselves, you know. Mirrors are really important. And they brought along their own special mirrors that were very wide, and then they can be mounted in a special way, you know, nice and high and off to the side. And I'd like to have my own mirrors like that. Make it a lot easier to monitor things behind me. Man, what a difference compared to cycling. This is so easy to do. You don't even feel the road going up or down, but if I were on my bicycle, even at this point, I would be feeling my legs, and I'd be breathing heavy and probably sweating already because these roads are very steep. But as I talk about quite often, there are advantages to everything, disadvantages. And I think this trip, in a way, would be more enjoyable on a bicycle, just in terms of being able to go slower and look around you, take in everything. You feel more immersed in your surroundings than you do on a scooter. But the advantage of the scooter, of course, is the ease of travel, being able to go farther, easier, more freedom of movement. That's the story of life and life choices, pros and cons. It's all about pros and cons. I'm feeling pretty good. I've encountered a couple of slow-moving trucks that I've had to pass, and this scooter has more than enough power to give me the acceleration I need to get around them safely, very quickly and safely. And at other times I can hug the left side of the road, and it's giving people enough space to get around me, the fast-moving cars. Look at this truck. Yeah, it tells you how steep this road is, and he's got 15, 20, more, maybe 30 cars in a lineup behind him because nobody's able to pass him. Oh man, it's like a gridlock traffic jam. Oh man, this is so much fun. But even being on a scooter, it's not like, you still can't be anonymous. On a bicycle, of course, I get a lot of attention. Everybody can tell instantly I'm a foreigner. And you think maybe on a scooter you'll blend in with the scenery, but that's a forlorn hope. Even from a kilometer away, people seeing me coming towards them, they know just the way, basically my height, my body shape, the way I'm sitting on the scooter, the way I'm dressed. From far away even, everybody can tell that I'm a foreigner. Woohoo! Yeah, that's one thing. You've got all these slow-moving vehicles coming towards you, but everybody is trying to pass them, so they pass them heading right towards you. So you're left with a very narrow strip of road that you can continue on. You're threading the needle a lot. And another trick to these roads I find is that a lot of people accidentally leave their signal lights on. So you'll see a scooter ahead of you that seems to be turning right or turning left, but they have no intention of turning, they just happen to have forgotten to turn off their signal light. So if you don't really know what people are going to do much of the time, so you just have to be careful. You can't make assumptions about what somebody is going to be doing. There was a guy ahead of me. I thought of that because there was a farmer with one of those spray cans on his scooter, like for spraying either, like probably pesticide. He's heading out to his fields, and he had his right turn signal on. And I was about to pass him on the right because he didn't seem to be going anywhere. But then just as I thought about turning, like moving around to pass him, he moved to the right out into traffic because he really was turning right. So his turn signal was accurate. And one thing, when I was planning this trip, I spent a long time looking at Google Maps, on a satellite view, and I found some very interesting things. Like, the closer I got to the village, the more, what is this road here? I've hit a Y intersection, and I don't know which way to go. But I was just saying that there are areas on the slopes of the volcano that are like heavily covered in rice fields, and they look incredibly scenic on a satellite view on Google Maps. Another change with this scooter business is the helmet that I'm wearing. And the visor comes down quite far. It comes down over my mouth. So when I'm speaking, my voice is echoing loudly in my own ears. So it sounds very dramatic, my own voice. It sounds much louder than I think it is. And if I raise the visor and then I speak, it's like, oh, I can barely hear my own voice because it's not bouncing off the visor anymore. So just in terms of speaking properly to be picked up the microphone, you have to adjust to the visor as well. A little bit of a transportation hub. All these vans parked here waiting for passengers. This might be my turn off. I mentioned I was watching this series of videos of these motorcyclists traveling around Indonesia. They just started, and in the very first few days they were talking a lot about getting used to the flow of traffic, and I was quite amused because it was the guy. There's a man and a woman, Tim and Marissa Notier. Their channel is called Two Up and Overloaded, but he always drives the motorcycle and she's always on the back as a passenger. So he's the one that's dealing with traffic, and then he talks about it quite a bit, how easy or difficult or the challenges of riding his motorbike in Indonesia. And then right out of the gate, he said something that I could really relate to, that if they're staying in a hotel and they leave their hotel, he's so happy if leaving involves a left-hand turn, because turning left is so much easier than turning right. So I am on the right road. This whole trip is going much faster than I anticipated. I didn't expect to be at this point so quickly. But this road that I'm now on will take me along the edge of the volcano, and then eventually I have to turn left again to go straight up the slope of the volcano to this village. But I'm still inside the town here. Something else I was thinking about this morning, because getting my scooter ready for this day trip reminded me of all the trips I went on in Taiwan on my scooter. And I did a lot of weekend trips. They might even be just a day trip into the mountains near Taipei, or it could be an overnight trip, spending a night somewhere and then returning, or 3 days, 2 nights, something like that. But back in those days, of course, I wasn't shooting any video, and preparing for the day and enjoying the day had a lot to do with listening to podcasts. So that when I was, settling in for a day like today, hello, I'd be looking forward to getting on the road, and then the very first thing I would do is put in earbuds, queue up all my podcasts, and as I rode through areas like this, for hours and hours all day long, I'd just be listening to podcasts, and then I would stop and take pictures. And then the next morning, of course, I would wake up in the morning and write in my journal about my experiences, and I put some of that onto a website. So it was a very different experience. And I sort of wanted to do that today. It was like, it'd be really nice to bring along some podcasts, and just plug in and listen to podcasts all day as I zoom along. But of course, this is a very different kind of experience where I'm trying to record the day on video. So I'm already just 5 kilometers away from the road that leads up to this village. So again, I'm getting here a lot faster than I thought I would. I guess because I think in terms of cycling, everything seems so far away. It's going to take a whole day to get there. But now that I have this scooter, my life is completely transformed, and probably for the better, to be honest. But there ahead of me, you can see some of the rice fields of this area. And I was talking about how in this area around the village, there's these vast expanses of rice fields like that going up in levels, up the side of the volcano. And on satellite view, they look really beautiful. But it strikes me as the kind of scenery that comes across best if you have a drone. It's the sort of place where you see that, and then you'd pull over to the side of the road on your scooter and pull out your drone and then capture video of that scenery. But this is something I think about all the time. I recently watched a video, like a travel vlogger kind of tourism video about Padang, this whole area. And the point of the video was how amazing Padang was and how beautiful it was. And the whole video showed all this amazing scenery, which was sort of, from the point of view of, wow, look how beautiful Padang is. You should come here as a tourist and visit. But then when you stop and think about it, all of that beautiful video, all of that amazing scenery, it was all from the point of view of a drone. And when you go there, you don't ever see any of that. You're only going to see it from the ground, unless you go up in a plane. So yeah, I often think about how this modern trend to use so much drone video is, the video itself is gorgeous. It's really nice to look at, but it may be a little bit of an illusion where, okay, sure, it looks amazing. If I put a drone up in the air right now, this, like where I am right now, would look spectacular, all those rice fields. But of course, here on the road, I only see little glimpses of the rice fields, you know, a little bit to the right and to the left. You don't see all of it all at once. Just an interesting perspective on drones, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Well, I'm on my way up, as I suspected would happen. This is I'm not on the final tiny road, but I'm on the small road leading to the tiny road. And it's very curvy, very beautiful. A lot of fun to ride, even at my slow speed. And it's right around here is that area that I mentioned where on both sides of me, the entire hillside is sculpted with rice paddies, like layer upon layer of rice paddies. And I think from the air it would be spectacular, it'd be really beautiful. So if you had a drone, this is where you would stop and fly the drone. But maybe since we're climbing, at some point there's going to be a lookout point and I'll be able to look down over the rice fields. I think I first heard about this village from one of the students who took me on a tour of the village, Fauzan. And he was suggesting that we come here by bicycle one day. And at that time, the weather was really terrible, raining every day. And when I calculated the distances and the altitude we'd have to climb, it seemed to me that a day trip here by bicycle was too much, especially if you're not in the rhythm. Like if you're riding a bike every day and you're covering, 60, 70, 80 kilometers every day normally, then you could probably do this in a day. But if you haven't been riding a bike steadily, just to come out of nowhere and suddenly ride a bike all the way from the village to here and then climb up this road, I thought that just really wasn't feasible. So I pushed back against that idea and says, no, I don't think we can do this by bicycle. I mean, I could probably do it on my own, but to sort of make a day of it with other people who really have never ridden a bike this far for a very long time, if ever, I really didn't think it would work out. So here I am on a scooter, and now that I'm going up this road, I'm very glad I didn't decide to come up here by bicycle. This would have, and this is still the small road. This isn't the tiny road yet. There's going to be a lot more climbing ahead. I can feel even my 125 scooter is struggling to get up this slope. It's having to dig deep. Well, this illustrates a little bit of what I've been talking about. Over here on my left, you can see some rice paddy dropping like stairs, like steps, down, down, down. And then the road curves here, and then it goes way down into the valley. This whole area consists of raised fields like this, like stepping all the way down. And if you could get a view of this from high above, it would look spectacular. Looks pretty nice even here down at ground level, so I can only imagine what it would look like from a drone. Yeah, looking off in that direction as well, you can see what I'm talking about, dropping down into the valley. All these rice fields. And then off in this direction, you can see them climbing up and up and up. You just get a hint of what it looks like from here on eye level, on the road. I just can only imagine what it looks like higher up. Yeah, I'm starting to understand why this area is so popular as a tourist attraction. Yeah, the scenery is really starting to emerge as we move into the slopes of the volcano. Yeah, look down. That is gorgeous. This is a stop and take a picture scenery. Feels like I've gone farther than 1 kilometer. Should have come across the turnoff by now. Ah, here it is right here. Must be. Yeah, there's a big sign up there. Well, it turns out that I did overshoot the road I was looking for, the one that goes up to this village that I think is the village I'm supposed to go visit. But yeah, I overshot it. And there's another road here though, but as far as I can tell, this goes up to some beautiful areas as well. So yeah, since I've started on this road, I'm gonna go all the way up to the top and then circle back down around again, and then I can backtrack to the road I was looking for to begin with. So yeah, this is not the road I was looking for, but I think it's just as nice as the one I was looking for. So let's see where this one goes. I remember when I was in Thailand going off on trips like this on a scooter, and as soon as I left from even secondary roads to go onto these very small, like tertiary roads, this was back in the days of the pandemic, and I remember running into roadblocks where they wouldn't let you go into the villages here because they were worried that you would be bringing the virus with you. And I remember having this weird feeling as an outsider riding my scooter into the countryside. I felt like a danger, like the village had barricaded itself against the outside world, and everywhere I went on a certain level, I was unwelcome because I was seen as bringing outside disease into their community. I remember having that feeling quite strongly. And now, of course, that feeling is entirely gone. The couple that I mentioned, Tim and Marissa Notier, they came to Indonesia quite recently to begin a motorcycle tour. They shot a video about their trip from the United States. I think they started in Chicago, maybe. Chicago to Tokyo, and then Tokyo to Jakarta. And this was quite recently. I mean, they landed a month ago, I guess, maybe 2 months ago, they landed in Jakarta. But when they arrived in Tokyo, they ran into trouble because Japan Airlines was not going to allow them onto the flight because they were still operating under the old rules. Like, Indonesia has changed. They used to have an app, like a mobile phone app, just like Thailand did. And before you could enter the country, you had to download the app and register with all your personal details as well as your vaccination status. And then you would have to present this app at all the places where you went, including airports. So you had to, at the airport in Tokyo, you had to show them this app, and they had to scan your QR code before they would allow you onto the airline. And they also said they had to have a visa in their passport, and they told them all these rules. But of course, Indonesia isn't like that anymore. Nobody uses the app, and you can now get a visa on arrival. But somehow Japan Airlines hadn't got the memo. And they didn't know that things had changed. So they were telling this couple, no, we're not going to let you board. So this couple, they had to, while they were at the airport, download the Indonesian pandemic app and register and do all of that, and then finally present the QR code. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous up here. You can see all the rice fields off on my right. Again, thinking about what it would be like to have a drone. Would be one way to truly appreciate the setting here. And I can see some clouds moving in over the volcano, so that would be the scattered thunderstorms that they were talking about. And I see some kind of a village off on my left. Bulan Sariak. That is so beautiful. I think the road that I'm on right now, it kind of dead ends at this village up ahead, which would be the kind of the lookout area. And then I can turn around and head back down, and then go looking for the, wow. Look at that setting. That is gorgeous. I wonder if the road goes all the way up there. I'm just assuming that the GoPro on my chest harness is capturing some of that perspective of the scenery up ahead. I love it when you really do have just one road, a small one like this, and there's really no other roads branching off from it. So you hello. So you don't have to worry about directions, you can just go down this road and see where you end up. I didn't see that motorcycle behind me until I heard him. Whew. Again, I can't help but think about what it would be like trying to come here on a bicycle. Well, you couldn't do it. This is way too steep. Wow. The views are really starting to open up. I'm not going to stop though because, yeah, the road is too steep to stop. If you can see the views on my way back down. Hello. Yeah, this seems to be the end of the main road. There's a smaller one that continues. I don't know whether I'll continue higher than this. This might be the most reasonable place to stop. And we'll get some nice views on the way back down. So yeah, the road ends here. There is a waterfall up there, but I guess you would have to hike to the waterfall, and I'm not that interested in doing that. So yeah, I'm just taking in the scenery, and now I'm going to head back down. There's some beautiful traditional houses here. I think just in front of me. Oop. across the road. You can see the orange and green house, and then the pastel green and brown, the traditional roof line. So let's head back down, and I'm going to go a bit slowly because the view opens up a little bit right up here. And you can look down into the valley that I just came through. As I said, on this road, on Google Maps, there were a lot of cafes. It said cafe, cafe, but I guess they don't really. Let's see, here's kind of a little bit of a viewpoint over the valley. But I guess I passed places that were marked as cafes, but I didn't actually see anything. Just local shops, you know, typical Indonesian shops. Yeah, it's beautiful. And as always, I have this feeling of astonishment that here I'm visiting this place as something very remote and beautiful and interesting, and yet all these houses belong to people who live here. And it's just I'm always astonished that no matter how remote a part of the world you visit, seemingly remote to you, people still live there. I mean, people live absolutely everywhere. There's a convenient viewpoint here. Of course, when I turn off onto the side of the road like this, you have to be careful not to go too far. There with one of my GoPros, you can see this valley fold in the hillsides here with all the rice fields. And that's the village over there that I just came down from. There's another area that really jumped out at me on the way up. Beautiful rice fields. I honestly wonder if it looks like this year round, because I remember going to some places near Mae Sot in Thailand, and I went to the same places several times. So I went there different times of the year, and everything looked dramatically different, because at one time of year it was the rice planting season, so it looked like this, the beautiful green rice fields. And then other times I would go back a different time of year and everything would be brown and dry and empty. So depending on the time of year you visited, it looked completely different. And yet here in Sumatra, it seems to me like it's always like this. It seems like they just grow rice all year round. when I left from Sumatra like 3 months ago, it was like the rice planting season. I thought everything looked like this. And I thought when I came back, maybe everything would be brown, like all the fields would be empty. And yet here it is, growing rice again, like they never stop. All right, I worked my way back and I'm at the entrance to the road to Pariangan, something like that. And it's pretty obvious once you see it. There's a great big gate up here. I don't know how I went right by it the first time, but I did. And up I go. It'll probably be a very similar ride to the one I just completed, to that other village. Very steep climb so far. Again, I'm thinking, unless you're Superman, you really wouldn't want to be riding a bicycle up here. No way. Beautiful curving road. The land is opening up more and more. Farming country. Yeah, it's taking every single cc of this 125cc engine to get up this road. Well, I've been riding my scooter around this village here, and I think it's a bit of an example of the power of marketing. You know, that someone in an article called it, one of the 5 most beautiful villages in the world. So then maybe that is sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it becomes a tourist attraction. But I mean, it's a nice enough place. The scenery, as you saw coming up here, all the rice paddies in the surrounding countryside is very, very nice. But I mean, the town itself does not seem anything unusual to me. In fact, the road that I went up the first time, though that was the wrong road, I went up by mistake. The village at the top of that road was much more scenic and natural and more pleasant in appearance to me than this one. So I would call that village, again, not one of the 5 most beautiful in the world. Even I have been to many more places that were as beautiful or more beautiful. But it's a nice little detour, nice little day trip to come up here, take a look around. I'm not finding a whole lot of viewpoints, maybe down here by the mosque. Looks like it opens up a little bit. Very steep driveway going down. And then here, I think this is what gets the village its reputation, is the setting. And yeah, the scenery that you see here. Oh, it looks like I actually stumbled across the main lookout point by accident. I didn't even know this was here. But yeah, here you get a very nice view of the valley down below. I see a bunch of visitors hanging out there having something to drink or eat. So maybe I will do the same since I've come this far. Hello. Well, completely by accident, maybe that's the best way for these things to happen, I stumbled across the viewpoint. Honestly, all I saw was the mosque. There was no sign pointing to this place or anything like it. And I thought I saw like a parking area by the mosque, and the view seemed to open up here. So I rode down the driveway to the mosque parking lot, and then I found this place. So it has all these seating areas here. Those ones there, you sit on the ground, which is not that great for me. So I found this place here that has actual benches, and it's farther away from the music. They're playing music over there, so I don't want to record the music. And from right here, this is my view. So this is what I came here for. It is interesting, though. I think in order to come here, you would almost have to know about this place. Like this viewpoint, I could easily have just turned around and left, and I never would have known, that it was here. Like if I stand up for a minute, you can get a nicer view. So they have all these places here, where people can sit, and the restaurant here. I just got a menu from them. And you can order simple food and simple drinks. And then here they have, seating areas as well. Those are clearly visitors. There's one guy there with a phone on a tripod, taking video. Oh, and there's another, restaurant down there. You can sit outside, I guess. But here we are. So I'm going to order some simple food, some noodles or something, and have a coffee. And there's the mosque. So there must be another entrance to this place. So I guess when you come up from down below, there's a driveway right there. So when you come up the road, I guess you just come up straight here. But again, I could easily have turned around and just left from here without ever knowing this was here. But I guess the longer you hang out in a place like this, the more places you see. There's another restaurant down there with a viewpoint here. So, here is the village. And the simple menu, as I said. Mie rebus, mie goreng, pop mie, and then some drinks. So I'm going to order some things. So far, so good. Found a nice spot here. Relatively far away from the music, and I have a backrest, and there's a little tree right there, which is blocking the sun for me. So I can sit in the shade, and the sun comes in and out from behind the clouds and keeps changing the light on that scene down below, which is very nice. And I ordered a cold cappuccino, and it just arrived, and without asking, they also brought a glass of water. And I ordered nasi goreng and mie goreng. So goreng rice and goreng noodles. I'm hungry, so I thought I'd get 2 meals instead of one. One simple rice meal and one simple noodle meal. And I don't have the information at the tips of my fingers right now, but I think there's a mosque here that is one of the oldest in Sumatra, if not the oldest in... Anyway, it's a very old mosque, and rumah gadang here as well. They're supposed to be very old and very traditional. So I think if you spent some time here and got to know the place a bit better, you'd probably uncover hidden secrets, interesting things here and there. Nice rumah gadang and mosques. But I think I'll be here just long enough to have lunch, enjoy the scenery, and then get back on the road. Nothing spectacular going on here in the way of food, but since my lunch has arrived, I can show you what I'm having for lunch. There's my noodles, mie goreng, and then I also ordered nasi goreng. I couldn't make up my mind, did I want rice or noodles? So I went for both, and combining it with my iced cappuccino and the scenery from before. So lunch is over. I'm going to leave you with one last look of the gorgeous scenery here. And that's the winding road that I followed up here, and it goes down. And as now I'm heading back to the village of Sariak, and I'm going to do the exact opposite: tiny road to small road to small road to small road, eventually leading all the way around the volcano which is behind me here. There's a Marapi volcano, and I have to go around it and then back to my village of Sariak, which is over there. So yeah, I would definitely call this a successful day, a successful first day with the scooter. That was amazing. Life is just so much better when you have a scooter. It really is. What's all this bicycle nonsense? Get yourself a scooter. That's the way to live. Yeah, anyway, now that lunch is done, I think I'm going to be retracing my route, as I said, heading back to Sariak. And I think I'll end the village here with a last glimpse of the scenery at this, perhaps one of the 5 most beautiful villages in the world. At least someone thought highly enough of this place to put it on their list, and I'm not going to argue with them. Looks pretty beautiful from right here. So that's it, shutting down for this morning anyway, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.
you.